Conscious beings, I brought someone very special today, Megha, the intimacy coach. I know many of you miss that in your life, so that's why, Megha, what is your mission?
I want to guide people into living the most joyous versions of their relationships.
I know everybody wants that. How exactly are you doing that?
I use tools of Tantra, somatic bodywork, conscious movement, and energy healing to create containers where people can truly find safety in the mind-body-soul union with a partner.
I love that. And what is the best thing ever happened in your life?
If I were to pick one out of all the amazing things, it is definitely the blessings, the love that I get showered with through my clients every single day I'm around them. And that makes my journey more fulfilling.
That's such a beautiful purpose. Now, why did you started all this journey of yours, and what triggered you, and what is the base of your work?
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful question. And I'll bring multiple perspectives to the why of this work, which is
What brought you here? Because most of people like you, except of those, let's say straightforward, freaking fake coaches that they do a weekend course of Tantra or Pranic or Reiki or wherever, coming from a business background, being super disconnected, and the next one they become your healer, and they might interfere with your whole body in a very negative way. So most of the super powerful coaches and therapists out there are the ones they have their own huge trauma, something that made them powerful.
Yeah.
So what was happening in your case? Because I'm sure you're not the one that over the weekend healer.
No, and I feel like I'm still a healer and a transformation coach in making. However, I believe that some very deep karmic events in my life, as well as some of the psychic intuitions that I've been receiving from my past lives, inform me that very, very recently, in fact, you can say about around 2022, I was coming out of a very abusive relationship, sexually, psychologically, financially, emotionally. Growing up as a girl, I grew up in a very chaotic household where I rarely saw my parents finding the patience to be just expressing love towards each other. And I slowly started to connect the dots of what I am experiencing in my relationships and what I grew up with, the conditioning around love as a child. Right? And not just the conditioning around love, around my beliefs in abundance, of attracting everything in life that makes me want to shine the most potential version of myself. And that's when I started stepping into meeting gurus who've themselves been initiated into the lineages of very deep classical Buddhist as well as Hinduist tantric work, combining it with a lot of the Chinese medicine, Taoist practices, as well as somatic bodywork practices, wherein I started to witness a huge shift in my, not just my physical body, my mental and emotional being, through these deep shamanic journeys of my soul, of how much the debris of the old is preventing us from seeing life in the most optimal, positive clarity. And each of us deserve that life.
Of course.
Each of us deserve to live life as if we are receiving a direct showering of love from the God every day. And I truly believe that you, me, and everybody who's even watching this deserves to be surrounded and enveloped in that.
Yeah.
And so when I started receiving that really safe, nurturing, compassionate way of meeting my darkness, my shadows, and really making love to the most awful parts of my journey, and really giving them a deep, respectful burial through these rituals, I let go of the weight of everything that was holding me back from meeting people, meeting projects, meeting collaborators in the most wholesome way possible.
I feel so good.
Just flowing
What
from
is
my
that
heart.
drop that made you stop your job, your career, and step into fully your work that you do now?
Yeah, I think when I started my research, even as a belly dancer,
Used to be a belly dancer. Okay.
no, I was an educator and a curriculum developer in my past life. So I used to work a lot with schools, colleges, non-profit
In your past life, in this
associations.
life.
Yeah, I mean, my past career life in this life, and I realized that there was something in the story that was still missing. So I was initiated on the path of light work when I was 19, when I started teaching
You're
children
lucky.
from orphanages and shelter
Wow.
homes. On weekends, I would lie to the warden in the hostel. I would bunk my really boring engineering classes and just find ways to make creative classrooms for these children, because they had nobody to offer them quality education which could give them access to equality. Now I had these narratives with me, but I also felt like somewhere there was this subtle violence in the heart of everyone that I was meeting. Even the most beautiful leaders that I was working with, and I've worked with some beautiful leaders across the world.
Yeah.
And I realized that the violence is coming from the broken child that we're all carrying somewhere.
Yeah.
And so I realized that even when I'm meeting a 50-year-old human being who's scaled through the best journeys of their career, they're still carrying that broken-hearted inner child. And when I started to find the missing piece of the puzzles through family constellation, Tantra work, somatic healing, conscious movement, I realized that, oh my God, everyone can attract the relationships, the abundance that they deserve in life. And that's when I was like, yeah, I'm gonna drop. And even today, I'd say I'm looking for more senior gurus. I would say in my culture, they're called the gurus, who've been initiated into this path, to really keep opening my eyes to the more truth that is within me that's hidden. Because the more that I meet the truth within me, the more honestly I show up with everything that's happening. And I don't have to. The frequency of love is beyond doubts. It's beyond fear. It's beyond manipulation. It's beyond dominance. It's about you and I can belong safely in the safe space. And that's what motivating me to keep going deeper, researching deeper, creating scales of flow state of emotional regulation, where we can even demonstrate through not just quality but quantity how people are able to regulate their
more
state of mind.
more tangible for those that they are already like, oh, I feel like what's going on with all this?
Yeah.
What's exactly happening in a private sessions of yours, and what's happening in a group session that you organize as a retreat?
Yeah. In my private sessions, I create a container where individuals can really drop into their vulnerability. They can really drop into their body and build a connection that transcends the shame, the guilt, and the fear they've been trapped in for years. So it involves a lot of guided visualization, a lot of subtle and gross movements, and a lot of pulsating activities through the body where we can free those trapped heavy emotions from the body, for people to start first finding a safe connection back with themselves. Because if I'm not feeling safe in my body, I cannot offer anybody that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So, yeah, that's what's
And you started working
private.
recently with the couples in a group session, so you demonstrate how they can reconnect.
Yes.
And that's what I understood, that it's one of the super valuable skill to have now, and it's a gift what you are offering. Most of the couples are highly disconnected, sometimes because of an entanglement. Sometimes you find it in the constellation that the wife will see the husband as a grandfather or somebody that was missing in their family, so there is no connection in between there, or simply because the polarity between the masculine and the feminine is not there. They are either, even if it's a man and a woman, they are both women or they are both men. So there is no more polarity, there is no more energy circulation. So that's when you come in, when you get couples together.
Absolutely.
You see what's going on and you help them reconnect.
Yeah, absolutely.
How are you doing that?
So when it comes to the collective healing work or the group work, and the first model of that is, of course, working with couples. You see, we're living in a society where we're still learning to look beyond the labels of identity that we're carrying. And within me, I know that there are times where an expression that's a little bit more strong, more assertive, more directional, and more, with more clarity of what it desires comes in. And then there's a side of me which just really wants to melt and surrender, which wants to nurture, which wants to hold people in compassion. And that's my feminine. Now, what's happening is that because, and stress is such a common word in Dubai for actually covering the trauma that people are feeling. Because as a society, I feel we're still in this part of the world, we're still coming to a neutral acceptance of the word trauma without getting triggered. But that's also okay. What's happening is that we're coming into the awareness that I am disconnected with some part of me. Maybe there's a wife who's been in her giving so much that she's missing receiving. Maybe there's a man who's been in his giving so much that he's missing receiving. And so I'm not trying to say that the feminine is rising, but what I'm saying is the understanding that we carry both within us, and we can learn to balance both within us in any environment that we are in, brings faith, brings hope, and it brings that narrative that you can learn to feel human. When you allow yourself to really break those shells that you are in. Maybe there's a day where, as a man, I want to just be at home taking care of the kids, maybe offering a meal or two, and maybe the woman wants to be the one who wants to drive or do the groceries and come back. So because we are so fixed on the identity of this is how my man should show up and this is how my woman should show up, we lock the attraction in our relationships. We lock the surrender in our relationships. We lock the dance of energies that our souls can experience through our bodies.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So for those who are still not understanding this word, how would you define in a very quick sentence Tantra, intimacy, and why not conscious connection?
Yeah. So a part of the work So when I say intimacy, I'll tell you why I use the word intimacy is because intimacy is across ages, across generations, across spaces, where connection, touch, communication, protection, expression, wilderness, magic, they all play together, synchronicity. So a mother and a child share intimacy. A husband and a wife share an intimacy. A grandfather and a granddaughter share an intimacy. It's that pure love energy that connects all of us. So the elements of conscious touch, of non-verbal practices, of body work, they help people truly connect with each other and understand what is bringing, what is lifting that relationship.
Thank you for sharing. So those of you that are following this podcast and feeling the calling to connect more with yourself, first of all, with your partner, with your future partner as well, reach out and follow us, because retreats will be for sure posted very soon on our pages. And follow us for more cool stuff, how to have more love in your life.
Yeah, how to attract more healthy, loving relationships in your life. I also just want to quickly mention that this work is really helping men and women open up about the honest struggles that they're facing in connecting with the opposite gender. For example, for men, sometimes they never really had a role model to tell them how to feel emotionally expressive in the presence of a woman. And so they start to struggle with premature ejaculation. You see? And for a woman, she's not able to see an archetype that's just beyond a man who's physically built. Right? So how does she feel psychologically safe beyond the shape of a human's body? So a lot of these layers, when they get really melted in the process, is when we start to understand that a union is way beyond what meets the eye. It's what's meeting the heart with another heart.
Thank you. So let's send a lot of love to those people. Open their hearts a little bit.
Oh.